How's everybody doing today? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I'm black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, very tragically, there has been another one of these race mass shootings over in Jacksonville, Florida. Very sad situation where one of these cowardly white supremacist young males named Ryan Palmeter walked into a Dollar General and just started opening fire. And we now know that he went there intentionally to murder black people. Okay, this was a race killing. And he went in there dressed like Kyle Rittenhouse with the blue gloves and the baseball cap and strapped up with the flak jacket and the gun to go in there and murder some innocent people. And from what we know, he tried to go to a historically black college. He tried to get in there, but the security would not let him in. Thank God they didn't, because he would have murdered a bunch of college students and probably got a lot more soft targets in that regard. But I'm glad they didn't let him in there. And he's wound up instead going to the Dollar General, picking soft targets, people just shopping and killing them for no reason other than to satisfy whatever racist, bigoted urges that he had in his little mayonnaise heart. So, we're going to be talking a lot about the things and the people surrounding this very sad case because there's been a lot of talk on black social media about black culture. And I often see, especially from a lot of black content creators who are not pro-black, calling black culture trash culture or saying black people have just such a terrible culture and look what we do. Look at all the terrible things that black people do in our own culture. Black culture, bad, bad, bad. So everything bad done by a small group of black people or one black individual here and there gets blamed on black culture and black people as a whole. And we're the only group of people who have to suffer under that yoke. We're the only group of people where the lowest common denominator and the scum and the scumbags within our community, somehow that gets blamed on all black people. But we're going to be talking about that throughout my next couple of videos, okay? Because with this situation that happened in Jacksonville, I've noticed some very disturbing but not surprising things about the dominant culture. And the dominant culture is the white supremacist culture that exists within this country. Because that's what created this mass killing in Jacksonville. The dominant white supremacist bigoted culture that we live in is what created this mass shooting. From the politics of people like Ron DeSantis, or Ron DeRacist as I call him, to the mass media, whether it be the ridiculous versions of it like Fox News, but even these liberal media outlets like MSNBC and some of these dumb bootlicks that follow around on social media, to the the church and a lot of the nonsense that it puts out there, and a lot of the political operatives that are involved on the liberal side, whether it be some of these pastor pork chops or some of their black liberal political agents on that side. So all of these things are working in tandem to do damage to black people under the umbrella of white supremacy. So we have to acknowledge these things. We have to acknowledge that there is a culture of anti-black violence within this country. It's always been here. since this country started, literally. It's always been about suppressing black people and having a culture and having an idea of anti-black violence. And if you want my humble opinion, is my conjecture that 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 neglect of black life and that culture of anti-black violence, that's what spreads throughout the black community. That's why you have black on black violence. Okay? When you have an entire country through both its religious, political, and media and social structures telling you that your life means nothing, what else are you going to have except for black on black violence? If there is something wrong with black people as a whole, I don't believe there is, but let's take these assholes' assertion of black people to heart and let's assume what they're saying is right. If there is something wrong with black culture that causes us to kill each other indiscriminately, where else could you put it at, and who else can you blame other than this sick, twisted society that has told black people from the beginning, historically, and since a black child is born, they are told from birth that their life means nothing. Okay? And their life is worth nothing because a white man can take your life and they not even get in trouble for it, or it's celebrated, or it's encouraged by the political system and the media. You know, if a black person gets murdered, people run out to figure out what that black person did wrong. If a white person commits a mass murder where they kill a whole bunch of black people, like in this situation, you got people trying to find excuses for the mass murderer, trying to say, does he have some sort of mental health issues? Yeah, he has a mental health issue. He's a mayonnaise mutant. That's his mental health issue. So, of course, there's something wrong with him. All right? But, they're trying to find excuses for his health, his mental health, right? They make excuses and they try to make it sound like he's just a lone wolf. You notice when there's mass shootings like this, the white culture is not blamed for it, even though the governor of that state where this shooting took place encourages violence against black people. He enacts laws that encourage violence against black people. He encourages separating black people from their culture and their history. You see? So you have a whole government apparatus that encourages this type of violence to happen to black people, and then you wonder why you see violence among young black people. What else would they learn, and where are they learning it from? All they're learning is that their life does not matter and that their life has no meaning other than to act as cannon fodder for these damn bigots out here. So of course they're going to cause violence against each other. Hell, if nothing is done to a white person when they commit an act of violence against a black person, why shouldn't I go kill another black person? It doesn't matter, right? Right? This black person's life must mean nothing if nothing happens to the people who cause this type of violence, if the entire society itself sanctions this type of violence, if the entire society encourages this type of violence, why not just go ahead and do it myself, right? So that's the mentality that goes on in these so-called people that commit quote-unquote black on black crime. Now, I don't believe in that term. I don't believe in that whole black on black crime narrative, but let's go along and pretend that what all these, conservatives and bootlicks, what they say in their little circles and the bullshit that they push from these bigots, let's pretend for a second that what they're saying is right. So I'm telling you where black on black violence comes from. It comes from situations like this. It comes from the mentality that gives birth to sick ass killers like this cowardly cracker named Ryan Palmetto. And that's exactly what he is. He's nothing but a coward. Because you notice these scumbags, they never want to go to the hood. They never want to go and face against any of these quote unquote thugs that they're always so worried about or think that all black people are, right? They never come in contact with any of these killers or these gangs or whatever. They go for soft targets. They go after people shopping. They want to go after people in church. They want to go after people who are just peacefully protesting. They want to go after people who are college students. They want to go after children. You see? These are the people these scumbags go after. That's why they're nothing but cowards. Pieces of absolute trash. They're not even human, in my opinion. And Kyle Rittenhouse is no different. Okay? This is what Kyle Rittenhouse wanted to do. So for all you numbskulls out there that said, why are you guys worried about Kyle Rittenhouse? He only shot some white people. What you worried about that for? That you were telling all of us back then when that whole situation happened. This is why. Okay? The fact that these two assholes are dressed the same is not a coincidence. All right? The fact that they have the same type of rhetoric on their social media and they have the same type of mindset, they vote the same, it's not a coincidence. All right? So for all you numbskulls out there that were always asking, like, why you so worried about what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse, this is why. Because this is the real target that these types of scumbags want to hit. All right? Kyle Rittenhouse just happened to come in contact with some white liberals and shot them instead of the black people he wanted to shoot. All right? So, once again, we're going to be talking about the culture that exists in this society, and I'm going to put black culture side by side with this demonic culture that we live in, and we're going to see which one is the trash culture. We're going to see where this so-called black on black violence comes from, and this overt bigoted violence comes from the white side. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. I hope to do a lot more videos, and I have some other examples of what I'm talking about as time goes on. So, for one thing, let me just say this before I go. Condolences to the family members of the people who were shot by this asshole. I do feel bad for them. You should never have to experience something like that. But also to black people as a whole, you need to keep your eyes open and keep your head on the swivel. I told you when that situation happened in Montgomery that these race soldiers are going to be looking for some payback. And if you ask my opinion, this is probably one of the retaliations for that ass whooping they got down in Montgomery, Alabama. So you need to keep your eyes open. I know it's hard. I know you just think you're out here shopping at Dollar General. Who expects some psychopath to walk into Dollar General while you're shopping? Or who expects some psychopath to walk into a Kroger while you're shopping? Or to walk on your school campus while you're just going to class, right? I understand that. But still keep your eyes open for these devils. You need to keep your eyes peeled for these devils. And just the way they always look at us, like, oh, what you doing around here? This person looks suspicious. You need to keep an eye out for the suspicious looking devils out here that want to do you harm, because they actually want to do you harm. You're probably just walking down the street minding your business, but these fools are scoping out the area so that they can do the most damage as possible and hit as many soft targets as possible. You folks let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back on my foot on a devil's back.